guys, we're back again. It's been a busy couple of days in NBA free agency. A lot of guys on the move, as we obviously know. And the Chicago Bulls are at the front end of being one of the busiest teams. And not only that, I'd say one of the good busy teams. You could be bad busy, you could be good busy. The Bulls are on the good end. They've made a lot of good deals. They added DeMar DeRozan. They were able to add Lonzo Ball. Really able to just flesh out that roster for any weak links they had in it. Get together a really strong top eight, and not have to lose any guys. Still have enough cap room to potentially bring back Lauri Markkanen. And I mean, again, if you look at the guys who might be anywhere from 1 to 8 in that lineup, anyone you could interchange in the starting lineup, defensive lineups, offensive lineups. The Bulls could pretty much match up with anyone in the Eastern Conference, and this is definitely their best shot at making the playoffs. Even better than I'd say the last time they made it with Butler and Wade. I'd say this is the best team they've had going into a season since the Boozer, Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah times, honestly.
And that seems to be the pretty standard going opinion right now. Because you look at this team, they have a great top eight, but they in their starting lineup specifically, they're going to be starting an above average player at every single position. Whether you're talking about Zach LaVine, of course, is one of the better shooting guards in the league right now, kind of on that next tier right underneath your Bradley Beal and James Harden. He's kind of right there, right underneath to that level. Vucevic is one of the better centers in the league, all-star 2 of the last 3 years. DeMar DeRozan hasn't been an all-star since he played with Toronto, but with that being said, he's coming off arguably his best year of his career, highly efficient, 21 points per game, 6.9 assists per game. He's going to be one of the leading ball handlers on this team. And then if you're able to spring back Markkanen, great. If not, you still have Pat Williams, who's still an amazing player, fourth overall pick last year, who can come in and step into that role as well. And then at the point guard, interchangeably, whether you're bringing in Kobe White or Lonzo Ball, they're both players that are average to above average players at their position. So that's something that's very rare, especially in the Eastern Conference, where every single top team has a weak link. They don't really have that. As long as they stay healthy, this Chicago team is going to make a big jump next year.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so. Where even like as much as it'd be say, if we look at last season, I was hopeful they'd make a jump. I liked the roster on paper a lot, but I've liked it a lot for a few years, and they always kind of seem to disappoint. Zach LaVine, he could get injured, and if that happens, I'd say this team isn't much better than they were last year. And there's a lot of good teams in the East, 1 through 10. You look at those teams, you really have to wonder: is Charlotte going to get better or worse? Are the New York Knicks, are they going to end up having an off year? Is a team like the Washington Wizards, could they find themselves again without Russell Westbrook? There's a lot of questions in the East that not only do you have to get better, other teams have to get worse. So the Bulls do need a bit of luck to get into the playoffs, but I do like the roster a lot, and I'd be comfortable saying that they're a top 8 seed. I just think that they could finish as high as fifth, and even then in an offseason again, they could somehow finish as low as 11th again. I think they're going to win games. They're going to beat a lot of good teams. They're definitely not going to be the worst team in the East, and I'm hopeful for just again for liking that roster that they'll make the playoffs, and I'm confident they will. But I'm not going to be utterly shocked if that team misses the playoffs. It's so hard in the NBA nowadays. There's so little room for you to not have a great, not even great game, but you have to have every single 82 games you have to play to your best ability, and they need to do that. But they have guys again in the rotation that they could do that on any given night, and I like what they're putting out there. I'd say they're probably better than the Knicks when healthy. I'd say they're probably better than the Hornets when healthy, probably better than the Pacers when healthy. They could probably give the Celtics a run for their money. They're a lot deeper. They're probably deeper than the Bucks in reality too, just as not as top heavy. So the Bulls, they're a scary team.
And not as top heavy, the key thing that you said there, because that's where they're missing out compared to the top teams in the Eastern Conference. They don't really have that Giannis. They don't have that Embiid. They have a lot of second tier all stars that could hopefully form together, kind of reminiscent a little bit of Toronto Raptors of the last couple of years, where they're going in with a great lineup. As we've seen with the Raptors, you're right. If things fall apart, whether it be injuries, whether it be going on a bad luck streak, this team could fall out of the playoffs. But I do feel confident that these additions are going to get them 4 or 5 extra wins this year. And I think that's all that's going to take them to be able to sneak into the playoffs. So I do believe that really they're going to be a playoff team, barring they don't have one of their top 5 guys miss 30 to 40 games. If Vucevic makes 30 to 40 games, or Levine misses 30 to 40 games, or even DeRozan, then this team could slide really quickly.
They could, and I agree that it's not going to take a lot for them. Like that's the key thing. That yes, I would agree. Adding Demar Derozan, keeping obviously Nikola Vucevic, keeping potentially Lauri Markkanen, bringing Alex Caruso, we haven't even spoke about as well, on top of Lonzo Ball. I think that does add 4 to 5 wins, and 36-36 got the Celtics seventh last year. So as long as the Bulls are a 500 team, which they sent 10, at least look to be,
I
I
hope
would.
so.
Yeah, I would hope so too, especially for Billy Donovan's sake, given that he's led teams pretty far before and to very good records in Oklahoma. So I would again be very hopeful for it, but it definitely is contingent on a couple things. So we'll see where they finish, but it's a very scary team. And come playoff team, if there is other teams that have injuries, the Chicago Bulls could definitely be a team that makes some noise too. Because like even for example, when Giannis went down against Brooklyn, if it's a full healthy Chicago team against the Milwaukee Bucks team with a Giannis that isn't at 100%, I'm gonna take the Chicago Bulls in that series.
100%. And we've seen it this past year. If one team is getting strikes the iron hot while the other teams are getting injured, then that team can make a run for it. Whether it be Giannis with the Bucks in the Eastern Conference, or you're looking in the Western Conference and you're looking at teams like the Phoenix Suns, for example. So it's definitely, as long as they can be playing hot at the right time, make it into the playoffs and not have injuries, that they can make some noise.
Yeah, this has got to be the year though, because they did trade all of their draft picks
Yeah,
until basically 2026. I think they have one first round between now and the 2026 timeframe. So it's definitely now that they got to get the ball moving. And if not, maybe they'll package Levine away for a bunch of first round picks, and they think they have enough key guys around it that it'll be okay. But it clearly looks like they're saying, hey, we have 1-2 years that we could keep all these guys together and we can make a real run for it. Let's see what they could do. And that's the approach they're taking. And like you said with the Phoenix Suns, I think that makes for really entertaining basketball when you have an off team makes there. And if the NBA Finals this year is the Los Angeles Lakers against the Chicago Bulls, I'm going to tune in and I'm going to watch those games, because if a young Bulls team could come together and could beat a team like the Lakers or the Warriors or the Clippers or whoever it may be, then I want to see that happen. And the Bulls, talent wise, they have enough guys that could definitely do that.
yeah, and I'm excited to see what they're going to bring this year.
Yeah, definitely. But let us know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you soon in some more content.